globe come together
to grow, collaborate,
and expand their business.
Where we take our individual fires
and put them together and make one big fire.
This is the Honey Badger Nation.
Let's go. Let's go, dude.
We're just chatting offline, but I love the background.
Thanks, bro. Yeah. So this is our. I'm gonna take this opportunity in the first 30 seconds to plug my podcast.
All right. Here we go.
Here We Grow is the name of the podcast. Yeah, and this is our new studio, so I figured I'd showcase it because we're pretty proud of it. And yeah, but let's get into. That was a dope intro. Where did you make that? Or did you get that?
No, that's Nick Krem.
Oh yeah, the man of many talents. The plug is that guy should just have nothing else in his bio. I know he probably has a long bio of all the cool stuff that he does and offers and everything, but it should just be like the real estate plug. Like the guy just looks after pretty much every hole that you could have in your business. So
I had him on, and it's funny. It was my shortest podcast. It was 18 minutes, but it was the most content because he's just go.
Man, you gotta he's like listen. Like I don't know if you listen to audiobooks, but I listen to audiobooks on 2x and like double the speed, and that's exactly like having a conversation with him. The guy talks so quick, man, and he's just wired. He's excited, man, and that's it's infectious to be around that. And I think that's the cool thing about that intro too. I was thinking. And I forget about the business that we're in, but we're so lucky to be in business with everybody that was in that intro. Like it's wild that we have access to all those agents that are like, absolute killers, right? So
yeah, that's my interview hit list right there. I'm starting to get through it, but
yeah, for sure, it should be.
Yeah, another thing with Nick, he's such a pro, but I actually dropped off. My internet dropped off, so I just figured we were going to have to start over. And when I come back, I reviewed it later. He just right away, as soon as I dropped, goes into like telling stories. I kept everything going. I popped back in, and we just picked the whole thing up. I'm like, what a pro.
He ran a coaching session with Jay yesterday, and it's funny because that's exactly he had to do that like 3 different times. Like something happened with Jay, his internet cut out, or he had to get something from the door, and it was almost like he was scripted. Like Nick was like, okay, so like here's what, and it was like he just carried on. Like Jay was at this conversation, and then like he just like carried it right on from there. It was wild.
Was that the how to win like listings?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to jump on that, but I wasn't able to. I'm sure it was
Jay,
fire.
Yeah, man, it was it was unreal. Jay does it a few times a year, and like every single time I've ever seen that presentation, I learned something new, and it's good. It's really good. The guy figured out a listing presentation from like he's so fucking intentional with every single thing that he does. I don't know. Are we swearing here?
Yeah,
I swear a lot.
Go for it.
He's so damn intentional about like literally every single thing that he does from the second that he even picks up the phone and books the appointment, that he's like, and I always say this about objection handling. Like you want to be able to handle, I write my goals down every day. And one of my goals is that I can handle any objection a buyer or seller could give me as if I anticipated the objection. Right. So, somebody, whatever it is that they give as an objection, being able to be like, I'm so glad that you asked that or I figured you would ask that. And then like with a smile on your face, because nothing feels better when somebody's like giving you an objection and they're trying to like do this to you and they turn back. And I've had many salespeople do this to me where you see them go like this and they like smile and lean in and you're like, oh, God damn, what's this guy going to say to me? This guy knows exactly what is going to be a solution for the problem that I'm throwing at him. Right. So he's just so intentional about every single thing that he does. And, anyways, I looked at my business manager after this and I was like, oh, dude, you're not going to like me. Well, we got to restructure everything we do after that presentation. So yeah, man, it was good.
I'll have to make time to catch the next one for sure.
Yeah.
Well, also, when I post this, I'll get your podcast and links to everything. So
appreciate that, man.
In touch with you and all that. So thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
I'm calling it the Real Estate Revolution podcast. And what we're trying to do is, shoot the shit about some real estate stuff, what people are doing, and also promote this awesome company that I still feel like a lot of people don't know about. So that's what we're doing. There you go.
Yeah, for sure, bro.
So first, tell us a little bit about Pat. Like, what did pre-real estate world look like, and how'd you get into the racket?
Geez, pre-real estate world for me, my dad's been in the business for north of 20 years. So I'm 27. So pre-real estate to me was when I was 7 years old, and before that, pretty well. It's pretty much all I've known. I think I've moved like 20 something times between the amount of times he's moved me and I moved myself. So it really is all that I knew. I didn't know that I wanted to be in sales. Um, uh, I knew I kind of wanted to be in some form of marketing or sales. Like I love being around people, and I couldn't be at a desk job or somewhere I was sitting in the same place every day. And I couldn't be somewhere where my salary was capped either. I think I would lose my mind. So I knew that I wanted to be in some variation of that kind of that realm. And I actually, go figure, wanted to go sell beer to start. Don't we all, right? So so I was looking into doing that, and then I just by chance landed an internship with the biggest team, one of the biggest teams in Ottawa. And it was like by day 3, I was like, oh shit, I can do this. I want to do this. This is awesome, because I had 2 young guys. They were like early 30s. Obviously running one of the biggest teams in Ottawa. They're, in between 300 to 500 transactions a year, making big money as young dudes. And, obviously showing up it's a little bit flashier in the bigger cities, definitely than Kingston. Like there's not many Kingston agents that drive flashy cars. It's like trucks and Jeeps and whatever here. But these guys were showing up in the flashy cars and the nice suits and everything. And our office was like, have you seen Wolf of Wall Street?
Yeah.
It was Wolf of Wall Street, but like a little bit less. Like it was like we had a disco ball in our office, and there's guys going up and down the hallways with their AirPods in, high-fiving. There was one agent that was doing shots of Jack Daniels when he did a deal on Fridays. It was pretty epic. And I got to be a part of them. So I was an inside sales agent. So that's pretty much, like, in my opinion, the hardest role you could have in this business, which is basically you're taking cold leads and trying to generate business for the other agents. And as much as you'd like to think that it's a warm call, it's a cold call. Nobody wants to take your call. And I didn't even know any areas of Ottawa because I wasn't from there. I went to school there. So trying to pitch these people on areas and properties that I didn't know really anything about was very difficult. And you got to fail forward though, right? So when I was working for them, I had the opportunity. They went from one brokerage. They were at Keller Williams, and then they opened their own Remax, and they opened. They called it Remax Core. And Remax Core was the #1 fastest growing Remax in the world for 2 years in a row. And I got to be a part of that. Like I was literally like helping them move their shit over, working in our first office was like under renovations. Like they were literally working on the office, like updating it and stuff every day, to the point from that point to all the way when they had like ping pong tables in their office, a gym, all this stuff. Right. So it was just a really cool environment to be in. And these guys had that growth mindset. And that's kind of what my podcast is going towards is Here We Grow. Anybody who has this, growth mindset of just wanting to be better every day. And I strongly believe that if you're not growing, you're dying. And these guys were like, they had that let's fucking take over the world mentality. Right. So then after 2 years of learning there, I was working on getting my license. I got my license, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to sell in Ottawa. I know people in Kingston, and I'll go and I'll work with my dad. My dad had his own brokerage, Nadeau Realty in Kingston. And obviously there was more opportunity there for me to actually physically sell. At least I thought, and I think I was right. But so then I came back. But the problem was when I came back, it was like not a mom and pop shop, but my dad's like, it's independent brokerages are only so scalable, right? I've never seen anybody with an independent brokerage not never, I shouldn't say, because I know there's some agents with our company now that had huge independents, but like the average independent brokerage has like 10 to 20 agents. So that was pretty much our cap. I think the most we ever had was 22 agents. And as soon as I got home from the fastest growing Remax in the world for 2 years in a row, I was like, let's Nadeau Realty, let's take it across the world. Like, let's go. Like, we're going into Ottawa, we're going to Toronto, we're going everywhere. Like, let's blow this thing up. And it was kind of like, whoa, pump the brakes. And it just wasn't a scalable model. So the first 2 to 3 years of selling, I did okay, and what some people might even deem to be well, but it wasn't good enough for me. And so I guess that I've already gotten into this is how I got into real estate. But my business really blew up when we switched companies, and I finally had some bigger agents, naming every single one that was in the intro of this podcast, reach out to, and I just followed what they were doing and put in the work. And then my first 12 months at EXP, I tripled my business. So so that's my story in a nutshell, I guess. But it's been a hell of a ride, just like a lot of people can say. And my first couple of years, I think year 2 or 3, I definitely thought about quitting a few times, because that's another misconception I think about real estate and realtors in general, is like a lot of people think that this is easy money. Sure as shit ain't easy money, man. I'll say that.
No,
Right?
It looks good, as you said. Those glamorous Ottawa guys with the nice cars and the suits and everything. But man, they hustle, they work.
100%, man, day and night. And your clients have the toughest thing too is like in those first years, man, like your clients come first, and that means before sometimes, and a lot of times, unfortunately, before your health, before your family, before everything. If you really want to be successful and you want to have that exponential hockey stick growth in your first couple of years, you got to put in the hours, man. There's no other way. There's no way around it. Like, you just have to put your head down and put the hours in. And it's tough, and not everybody can do it. Right.
There's no boundaries. That's what my wife had trouble with. Like, I'm on calls at trying to get deals together at like midnight, obviously hustling on the weekend. It's like, and the clients have no boundaries. It wasn't until I was more established where I could start, putting up boundaries. But when you're a new agent, you can't really say no when you're trying to get your business going. Yeah,
100%. Oh, sorry, I can't show you that house like at 9 o'clock at night. And they'll go, okay, well, that's fine. I'm going to call this other agent. Thanks for your time. Anyway, see you later. That's another thing that's really difficult is I don't think a big thing with being in real estate is I don't think a lot of clients really respect our time, which is difficult. But you almost have to, like, I don't want to say not respect your time, but you have to put your clients first, at least when you start. That's difficult. But if you really want to do well in this business, you have to go all in, right? And my dad this is one of my favorite quotes of all time. It's something I really live by, but you have to live like no one else is willing to now, so you can live like no one else is able to later.
Okay.
And it's so true. Like, if you don't put your head down and do the work, you're going to be in the same place, right? An object at rest will stay at rest unless acted on by an outside force. So if you're an object at rest, you're going to stay at rest, right? You got to hustle if you want to change something, right?
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah.
So let's just unpack the EXP bit so you're working at the independent.
Yep.
I know a bit of this story, but how did you first hear about EXP? I kind of know how this all went down.
So yeah. So again, I mean, like I just said, when I came back and started working at our independent brokerage, I was fired up and I wanted to take it everywhere, but there wasn't a way to scale it. There's a lot of issues with having an independent brokerage. The main one is agent turnover, right? You bring somebody in, usually at independence, there's a higher split because you're giving them a lot, you give them a lot, you teach them how to do everything, and then once that agent, I would guess probably around the 25 to 30 transactions a year. Once they're doing that, they go, well, I can do this somewhere. Now I know how to do it because you taught me how to do it. I'm gonna go do it somewhere else, right? And there's a constant turnover of staff and agents, and it wasn't sticky. I'll use this word the other day. It wasn't sticky enough to keep agents there. It wasn't exciting enough to keep them there. So that was kind of what I internally was like struggling with, because obviously, my dad's only exit strategy was for me to take over the company, right? And so looking at this as a 10, 15, whatever, 20-year plan, I was like, I want to make this company bigger if this is going to be something I'm going to be involved in someday. And anyway, so our EXP story is my dad at one point got a call from one of his old coaches, Andre LaFontaine, who's an absolute beauty. And the guy said, hey, I'm in this, new model, and I want you to have a look at it. So he's like, I think one thing that I really respect about my father is that, and don't tell him I said this, hopefully he's not watching, but I don't like to pump his tires too much, is he's always been open to new ideas, for better or worse. Like, every time a new real estate company's come up, him and I have both looked into everything, like the purple bricks, everything. It's like, and it's not like, let's go do that. It's always just like, what's the competition doing? And also owning our brokerage, like, what could we steal? Because that's another a quote I really love is good artists copy, great artists steal. And it doesn't mean like actually steal. It's more just like when you look at what other people are doing, why are they successful? There's somebody in a position where you want to be there that's already there. So don't reinvent the wheel. Somebody else has already done it. So anyway, so he looked at it and looked at it again and looked at it again. And finally he's like, all right, Pat, I want you to watch this 30-minute video. And I'm pretty quick to make decisions, but I watched the 30-minute video. And as soon as I was done, I looked up and I was like, this company is going to fucking swallow you whole. Like, I was like, not only do you not stand a chance in hell against these guys, the big box brokerages are out of luck. Like this is the Netflix to Blockbuster, just like I think they mentioned in that video. And I just said, you can't compete. Like you can't offer this. There's no way we could figure out a structure that would make sense financially to be able to offer our agents half the shit that this company is offering. Right. Yeah. And so then we started to look into it. We actually we'd already planned a trip to go to Halifax, where all the biggest independent brokerages in Canada were going to do this kind of like mastermind, right? And they're talking about issues that they have and whatever. And so we had this long list of issues that come with having an independent brokerage. And the cool thing is like being an agent at the independent brokerage and him being the broker. But we had two different aspects of like what the holes were we needed to plug, right? And we're like, hey, maybe somebody here's got an answer for what we're struggling with. Maybe EXP is not the thing, and maybe they have something, right? 100% of the people there had the exact same issues as us, all the same stuff. And it was like, we just sat at that whole conference and we were like, okay, like what, I guess that's it. Like, and what's the worst thing that's going to happen was the other thing, right? So my dad had just paid to have this $10,000 sign put up that said Nadeau Realty, and that we just got a new office here. And he's like, well, I guess I take that down, but worst thing is I just have to put it back up again if this thing doesn't work, right? Like we've been doing this for 20 years. I'm sure we'll figure it out and put it back, put the company back together. So there was one more event that we had to go to before we pulled the trigger, and that was the EXP. It wasn't even EXP Con. It was the EXP Shareholder Summit, which is the next one's coming up in June. So, and we went down there, and it was crazy. Like just when you're sitting in the room and you look across the table and that guy is doing 500, 600 transactions, 1,200 transactions, millions of dollars in sales, plus a couple of guys we were talking about the revenue share aspect, right? And they would go, well, like, how serious is it? And they would go, well, this is kind of what it looks like. And our jaws just hit the floor. We're like, this is friggin' awesome, right? Like if this doesn't blow up our business, I don't know what will. So yeah, and it's been a hell of a ride ever since, man.
Well, the beautiful thing too is that you moved to EXP, what, 3.5 years ago now? 3 years ago?
Yep.
But you can still have your own brand within EXP. So
yeah, 100%.
So your dad's team's still together, and now you've actually, if I understand, that cap you had of 22 agents, you were able to blow past that because you can offer so much more to agents. So what are you sitting at now? How many agents are part of the Nadeau team?
So obviously he's our team lead. But yeah, the branding thing was cool because our branding didn't even change. Like it's still this, it was the same logo, it was the same everything. We just had a little EXP in the bottom corner, same colors, same everything. I think that's really cool about what EXP does is they let the agent brand themselves. And that's what that's what it is. It's all about at the end of the day, right? The company, nobody calls an agent because they work at Remax or Century 21 or wherever. They call the agent because they know you and that's your relationship, right? But yeah, so he was at and again, it's a floating scale. So he was at like I think 13 or 16 agents when we were looking at EXP. And when we made the jump, we actually lost two. Two said no, I don't want to go over, but they were the two kind of least producing agents within the group. So which is another cool thing about EXP. EXP only makes, if you're complacent, which I think is the biggest curse word in the English language, if you're complacent and you're happy where you're at, EXP does not make sense for you. 100% it doesn't make sense for you. If you want to do better and you want to make more money and you want to be more successful, or you want to sell more houses, have more time with your kids, whatever, passive income, then it makes sense for you. But if you just want the same old thing, it's not going to make sense, right? So we went down from whatever it was, like 12, 13 agents, let's say. And he now has 3 years later, 450 agents.
Oh, in his group, yeah.
In his group. Yeah. Our team just alone in Kingston, I think we're somewhere around 60 agents. And we have agents that like we couldn't like the other thing in like one of the big holes in the independent brokerage model is like the branding is you know the main agents are the ones that are like that own the independent brokerage, right? So it's really, really hard to attract the top producer. But we have agents that we could have never in 100 years had at Nadeau Realty now with our team because of all this other shit that we can offer them. Like, so it's been pretty incredible. But I'll say this too about myself. Like when I came to EXP, that didn't excite me. I saw the revenue share stuff and I was like, that's cool. You know, that's good for some people. I mean, it's a good opportunity for my dad who like, I knew he was going to be on his way out the door and then not out the door, but like he wants to have some more time to do his own thing. Right. The year before that we came to EXP, he sold 100 homes. Like you're not having much of a life when you're selling 100 houses, no matter what kind of team you have around you. Right. So he had that in mind. What's my exit strategy? And the only exit strategy was me. So I saw that opportunity for him. But for me, I was like, man, I just want to sell more houses. I'm in year 3 or 4, I think, of the business. Like I've been at the same mark where I'm selling the same amount of houses and I just want to sell more houses. And it sure as hell, you know, helped me with that. But just because I was creating good relationships with people selling more houses and people was, you know, saw that, you know, success, obviously tripling my business or whatever, like doing better, it just kind of initiated some organic conversations, which led to, you know, I think my team's at like 82 agents or something like that now. And organically without me picking up the phone and calling really anyone. So, how can you not be excited about that? Right. Like, that's why everybody's like, oh, these EXP agents, like, chill out. What's going on? Like, dude, how are you not excited about a company that's giving you the opportunity to do that? Like, I couldn't have imagine how much money it would have taken me to create a brokerage and recruit 82 agents.
Yeah.
It would have taken me years for one, not 3 years. It would have taken me 10 to 15 years probably. Or if I was buying a franchise, it would have cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars or whatever, right? Like it's not feasible. I mean, that it's such a huge opportunity in itself to be able to do that, right? And like for your sales to take off, it's exciting too. And I didn't know, like, again, the rev share and the stocks were not even an issue, like not even something that I ever even thought about, right? And the stocks went through the roof for a period of time there, like exponential growth, which is insane. But I hadn't even looked at it once. Didn't even know how to log in to check my stocks. And at one point, my dad goes, "Have you checked your stocks lately?" And I was like, "I haven't checked my stocks ever, so no." And without getting into specifics, it was like I checked it, and it was in the 6-figure mark, and I was like, "Holy shit!" I have I didn't even know that I had this. So how could I not be so fired up that I'm screaming EXP is the best thing in the world? How many times do you hear people say your company gave you that amount of money for just doing exactly what you were doing before?
Yeah.
You know?
Never mind the rev share is in addition.
Yeah. It's just one thing after the next. And that goes back to like owning our own independent. We just couldn't have done that. There's no way.
The other great thing, I'm assuming that your group of 82 are probably not all in Kingston. Like, no,
I still have yet to meet some of them. India, Florida, Las Vegas. Yeah. A lot of them are from Ottawa, like the connections that I had before, that Remax team that I used to work for, they've come over now. So that was huge. That was a big one. But yeah, man. And it's because of the model. It's not because of me, right? They just figured it out. They just found a better way. And hey, here's the thing. This is what I like to say too. It's like, yeah, I'm going on, I'm crazy, and EXP's done this for me. It's changed my life. It's awesome. It's this and that. But like, if you can show me another model that's better, I would still consider it, because I think that's what business is about. Like there's always either it's adapt or die. So there's going to be a better way. Whether EXP continues to adapt and figures that out, I don't know. Somebody's going to come up with something better at some point in time. But as of right now, as far as everything that I've seen and I've looked at, which we've looked at, you know, I'm pretty sure everything, it's the best thing that's out there by far.
And I feel like the thing people don't talk about enough that I think is really, to me, is the hidden gem in the whole company is the collaboration and the access you have, like the people. Can you talk a little bit about how the collaboration has been so far? I know, you know, the Jay's Jays of the world and John Kitchens and all these great real estate minds that we have access to.
Yeah. So like that, I would say that that's probably the thing that I was the most surprised with, or that I didn't anticipate, was how that level of collaboration. I mean, they tell you when you're getting in, like you talk to some of these big agents and they're like, yo, I got you. Like when you get in here, I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna do this for you. I'm gonna do that. But you know that they want you to come to the company. So it's like, are they really going to deliver? And is it really that high level of collaboration? But the level of collaboration has been like phenomenal. And those events are life-changing. Like the events that we went to in Vegas and Florida and everything has been like, just open your eyes so much. And like, so my thing is with these people helping you, like some of these guys are the top coaches in literally the world. And so when I had problems in my business before, it was like, okay, well, I'm struggling with this. Like I had my dad to reach out to, who's been in the business for 20 years, but who the fuck wants to listen to their father anyways? So like, you know, that was it. That was the top of the scale, right? At this company, it's just one person after the next. And like when I made a mistake before, I had a problem, I was just like, all right, well, I'll put my head down and work harder. And I would just be spinning my tires because I wasn't going in the right direction, or I didn't even know what the goal was or how to get there. And now with these other agents, it's like, I've been there. I got from 20 deals to 50 deals to 60 deals to 100 deals. Here's what each one of those increments, problems that you need to solve, and here's how you solve them. It's just like, imagine trying to get from Kingston to Toronto, right, without a map. Like I'd get there eventually, but if somebody gave me a map and was like, here, you got to hop on the 401, go here, here's how you turn, I get there a hell of a lot quicker, right? And that's exactly what happened. So it was like, as soon as I came over here, people were helping me do stuff. And even to the point, like, so now it's scaling my business. Like I got to a point where I was like fully leveraged. Like I think at, you know, the amount of transactions that I was doing, I was like, I couldn't do more. Either I could do more business and sacrifice more of my life,
right,
or in my relationships, which I already had to do to get to that point, or I need to leverage some sort of system or, you know, staff or whatever to get to that next level. Because again, I think if you're not growing, you're dying. So, so even recently, like in the last, I think he's been with me for 8 months now. I brought in a business manager, I call him. So it's an inside sales agent essentially with kind of an admin type of role. And he's phenomenal. So, before I did that, I had a couple meetings. I had 2 or 3 meetings with John Kitchens and 2 or 3 meetings with Al. Those meetings, if I wasn't at EXP, before EXP, because they ran a coaching company, would have costed me anywhere between probably $5,000 and $15,000, right? Yeah. And I just booked a call on their calendar because I'm at EXP and because they want to see me do better and succeed. And they're financially, most importantly, they're financially invested in seeing me succeed. Because that's the other thing. If you call up, you know, the number one agent in your, you know, Remax, Roller Page, Century 21 office, they might help you, but they're not like financially incentivized to help you. And we all get in this business. Let's not mess around here. We all get in this business for one reason, and that's to make money, right? And so if these people aren't financially incentivized, they're probably not going to help you. They'd rather go sell a house. So I had probably like 3 to 5 calls with each one of these guys, and we spelled it out. Like we broke down where my pain points were and how I was going to solve them, what the role was going to look like. And I ran my ideas past them and everything. And we basically like made this role together, on how, you know, I was going to grow my business. And it's really helped. Like the position that I have now is changing my life. It's giving me a lot more, you know, Trevor, who's working with me now is giving me a lot more freedom and also helped me spend time doing my A level activities, because there's A, B, and C level activities, obviously, right? So I'm trying to rule out those B and C level activities and just do what I'm best at, which hopefully is going to take me way to the next level. So,
well, speaking of stuff you're really good at, do you want to talk a little bit about what you're doing on social media? How's that for a segue?
I like that. I like that. Yeah, thanks, man.
I'm loving what you're doing. Actually, if I had more time, I was going to prep one of your little videos to play along here, but I might add one in. What's your approach to social media? And
thanks, man. I appreciate that. It's actually something that I think everybody does, but I kind of struggled with at first and still do. Nobody likes seeing this. Like, I don't care what, like if you're a TV show, actor or whatever. Like nobody likes looking at themselves on camera. So when I first got in the business, I was like, all my friends don't want to see the houses that I'm listing. Like they don't care about real estate, and I'm gonna lose. People are gonna stop following me, or people are gonna I'm gonna see people out at the restaurants and like around town. Kingston's a small town, and they're not gonna for lack of a better term, they're not gonna fuck with what I'm doing. Like they're not gonna be about me being real estate. And then I went down to that event in Florida, and I saw Gogo Becky speak, and I'm sure you follow her, but like she's a powerhouse, man. And she's like the social media guru and the social media kind of leader of EXP. She's at the top. And everything she said was like, yo, this is your business. This is what you do is like you're selling yourself. It's your service. So if you're not letting every single person know that could potentially be in your sphere, could potentially ever buy a home from you, that you're in real estate on a frequent basis, like what kind of business are you running? Right. And the way that like when I saw her speak, it clicked. I was like, oh, I get it. And if people don't want to follow me, and if some of my buddies or whoever get annoyed with what I'm doing, like who cares? Because at the end of the day, I got in this business to make money, man. So if and one of the things that she said, she broke it down like that, like if it takes you a couple extra posts a week about real estate to sell 5 or 10 extra houses this year, and you can make that amount of money, is it worth it? Yeah. And I just had this aha moment of like, okay, like I guess I'm gonna go all in, and my videos at first really, not that they're good now, but they really sucked back then. But you gotta start somewhere, right? And so I just started doing, and again, it's back to that same thing, like good artists copy, great artists steal. I just started doing what I saw other agents at EXP doing, or other agents in other marketplaces, right? And my business blew up because of it, for sure. There's no arguing. I think like one of the biggest things that happened was actually like repeat and referral business, and my referral aspect from more so like other agents seeing what I was doing from other markets, connecting with them, creating relationships. Like I have one person who specifically sent me 6 deals in 1 year, and we made that original connection through social media. So, I mean, you're doing the math in your head, I'm sure, but the money on 6 deals is enough to pay for every post I did last year, I'm sure, right? And that's just that one connection alone that was created through social media. So it's so important. And me and you were talking before, we were live, and it's about telling people who you are, right? Giving people the opportunity. People want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. And you get to create that before you even get in the door and give your presentation, because they've seen you on social media. So I think it's crucial. So I'm not even sure that answers your question. I've become pretty passionate about it. So
yeah, and as I was telling you too before, it comes across very authentic. Like it feels like we're seeing you on camera, and it's not. Yeah, I was going to upload the football one. Where you throw the football and you're running through all different scenes. Yeah. I saw one where you're on a roof or something. I was like, man, if this guy keeps up in the ante, he'll be jumping out of planes soon.
Well, that's the thing, man. Where do I go now, right? Like, I've jumped in the pool. I don't know. So my thing is with those, that's for like the intros for the one with the football was more so like, hey, we're driving to Florida. Let's do something to pass the time as we go down there. But the other stuff, I think when you're listing properties, 2 things. One, like everybody has a short attention span, right? How many times you scroll through Facebook? I don't know if it's just because I'm a realtor, but like every time I open Facebook, 100% of the time I see at least one house for sale, like one video tour, right? And I'm scrolling past them, and I'm in real estate, right? And so what are they gonna do in the first 2 to 5 seconds that catches my attention? That's gonna keep me watching. So I just started doing crazy shit, and I hope to get it a lot crazier, honestly. And now it's like, where do I even go from here? But I hope to keep doing crazy stuff. So, but yeah. So the other piece to that is, I think Jay said it on the. I'm not sure. I'm reading a book right now, so I don't know if it was Jay or the book I'm reading, but It's money doesn't move towards similarity, it moves towards difference. So in a world of, I don't know how many agents we have, let's say 600 to 800 agents in my market, how am I different than them? Like,
Right.
you have to be constantly thinking about, and this goes to any business. Like, if you own a restaurant, why should I go to your restaurant as opposed to the other 10 on the street? And actually, that's another thing about Kingston. We have the most restaurants and bars per capita in Canada, I think. It's a weird stat to throw out there, but like, out of all these restaurants, what makes me go to this one or that one? And part of it is your service, but with social media, it gives you an opportunity to differentiate yourself and hopefully have the money move towards difference, and as opposed to, the standard stuff, right? So, yeah, I think that's really important in real estate. You got to constantly ask yourself, what am I doing different every day? So yeah.
I have no idea. And what else? What's new platforms are out there? What are people doing? What's working?
Yeah, exactly. And that goes back to our collaboration point, right? Find out what other people are doing and
so
move towards that.
Sounds like it's been a pretty successful, first 5-6 years in the business?
Yeah, somebody asked me the other day. I'm not even sure. 5 or 6. I actually don't know which way. I think it's 5, somewhere in there. That's how long I've been in. Yeah.
So what's the future look like for you? I know is the wedding this year?
Mm-hmm.
I know you got that to deal with, but what's coming up on the horizon? Where do you see yourself a few years down the road?
It's a good question. So I'm getting married this year. I'm excited about that. But as far as what the next 5 years looks like, and I write this down every day. So I think that's really important. I think that if you need to know where you're going, but for me, I think obviously I want to do more. I have to do more every year, or else I'm going to lose my mind. So I don't want to do more just for the sake of doing more. This is Al put it like so perfectly. It clicked with me on his presentation that I saw on Wednesday in Ottawa, and he said in real estate, you're constantly running on a treadmill, and you can keep your business rolling as long as you're running on the treadmill, and you can run as hard as you want, and you can do more and do more and do more. But what happens when you stop? Like, when you stop on the treadmill, you're going to fall over. So I want to keep running on the treadmill, but at a sustainable pace. And the only way to do that is through leverage and, scalability and passive income. So my other thing is, like, being in real estate, getting the opportunity to deal with a lot of investors. I've realized that, like, I have big dreams, and I don't want to just have money. I want to be wealthy someday, because of, the amount of wealth that you end up seeing in this business. Right. And I know that the kind of wealth that I want to create for myself will never be created through selling real estate. It'll be through owning it. So I want to do the same thing that my investors are doing, which ends up being a lot trickier than you think, because nobody trusts a realtor, right? When you're trying to buy a house, every time I've sold one of my listings to another realtor, the sellers are always like, "Oh, what's going on? What does the realtor know? We don't know," right? So that's kind of tricky. But my goal is I want to buy as much real estate as I humanly possibly can in the next 5 years. EXP is giving me the opportunity to create passive income in that sense. So those two passive income streams are a huge goal of mine, and I want to leverage myself to the point where I just want to be listing properties. I would like to not necessarily not work with buyers. I still want to be active in every single client that I take on, but I'd like to have a team around me that financially makes sense to have those members of my team kind of like, doing the running and gunning type of thing, so I can have more of a life. Because we got to work when other people aren't. We got to show houses when other people aren't at work, which is late at night, weekends, whatever. So a little bit more of that. And as you know, and as we were talking about before, my dad just bought a place in Arizona last year. So not necessarily in Arizona, but I'd love to have a place maybe in Florida or somewhere I can ski. I love to ski too. So be able to still run my business from those locations, but somehow be able to do that. That's kind of my 5 to 10 year plan. And it all comes down to one word or two words, I guess. And that's passive income. How can I create passive income? Because, we're only as good as our next sale in this business, right?
Yeah. What I'll do for you is when we do this again, I'll travel down to Arizona and we'll do it in person.
You would do that for me?
I would do that for you.
Well, we should do it for Pierre then. I think maybe he should set us up in his house, and what would be a good backdrop is his pool too. So we'll hook him. We'll talk to him and get him to send us down there too. I mean, he should pick up our flights too, because we're going to be marketing. He does it as a short-term rental too, so we're going to be marketing that as well. We can make this proposition. We should build a slideshow.
I love me some PowerPoint, so I'm ready to go.
I love it.
How can people get in contact with you? I'm going to post some links below. What's the best way if someone wants to reach out and connect?
Follow me on Instagram. That's the handle I think I got in my kind of like whatever my name or bio there. So it's Pat Nadeau _EXP. Definitely hit me up there, and from there you can find me anywhere else. But Pat Nadeau, you can find me on Facebook. Find me in one of those two places. And if we want to connect and you need my phone number, we can go from there. But definitely hit me up on Instagram. That's the main one. So yeah.
I don't easily throw out endorsements, but yours is a good follow.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate that.
So I'll end with when I met you in Kingston. I'm not sure if you remember, but I said because I knew what you were doing, right? Because I've been kind of working on part of your dad's group, and I knew what you're doing. I know you're the top producing guy in that team. You're doing all the stuff on social media. You're growing your rev share group, and I'm like, I'm really proud of this guy. And then I found out you were like 26, 27, and then I decided that I hate you. So
yeah,
just want you to know, I'm one of the haters.
That's all right, dude. Give me some
congratulations on all of your success, and thanks a lot for doing this, man. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate having me on, and this was fun. Hopefully we can do it again.
All right. Good luck with the wedding.
All right. Thanks, bro.
See you, man.
This is Honey Badger Nation,
where real estate agents from around the globe come together
to grow, collaborate,
and expand their business.
Where we take our individual fires
and put them together and make one big fire.
This is the Honey